All right, I'm joined now by Mark McColgan, the crew chief of the St. John Trail Running Club here in St. John. Thanks a lot for coming on the Radical Fabulatorium, Mark.
Thanks for having me, Jay. This is the first time I've been in a studio, so it feels pretty official. I like it.
Cool. Yeah, it's a nice little studio, eh? But you went to school here at UNBSJ.
I did, yeah. I took business here, the co-op program, and really enjoyed my time. So it was kind of cool to get back and roam those hallways in the basement there. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Plus, we were just reminiscing before we went live here about. Or before we started recording, we're not live, just
no worries.
Just in case you started to be like, oh no, about all the CDs that we're surrounded by and kind of how we're both from that era. So
yeah,
it's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's cool to see. Yeah, I like it.
And it's also interesting that you're my fourth interview sort of that's built around running. So like somehow I've managed to like sort of morph into this like parallel running show podcast because I've had Kirk Goddard and Christian Meyer, Mark Hemmings, Colin Swift, and now you.
I did see that. I was wondering what was going on with you. I think you want to get into running. I think that's what's going to happen.
Well, I probably lose 50 pounds.
No, you don't actually. Yeah. As you can see, I'm a big runner too. So it's surprising. Trail running is a lot different than road. It's not as painful on the joints and hips because you're kind of forced to go slower. You got dirt underfoot. It's definitely a lot different, and you do see the bigger runners, as the boys from the Chasing Trails podcast like to say, they're Clydesdale runners. Okay, and that's a great way to put it. Okay, slow and steady.
Okay, yeah. Okay, well that's good to know. Maybe I'll consider that then. I guess I hadn't. I'm sure that maybe came up with my chat with Colin or something, but I just assumed all running is like difficult for someone who's struggling with weight.
No, I mean, if we get into my story, you'll find out that I hated running, and I always hated running, and I still struggle with it a bit. But it's funny when you find your people in this community. It's very addictive, and it doesn't matter what size you are or what nationality you are. We all just love being there, and it's a great time.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Maybe we can go back a little bit because I do still feel like I don't really know much about running, even though, like I said, this is like the fourth interview about it. But I feel like I'm going to project my thought onto the audience that most people assume running means like running on the sidewalk or the runners you see on the roads.
Right. So
maybe we could just go back in time a little bit and talk about the trail running club and kind of use that as a way to talk about maybe the difference or why trail running over, I don't know what you'd even call it, street running or? Yeah, sure. Urban running or road running or so my journey kind of started back in, I guess, 2016. So I wasn't a runner all my life for sure. I dabbled in sports every now and then, but my thing was more skiing, downhill skiing, that kind of thing. So I wasn't super athletic. I'd go to the gym, but I just wasn't pushing myself too much. And so I finally, in 2016, I thought I needed to make a change and actually got into the spin classes at Good Life. Did that for a few years, and that really got me in pretty good shape. So once I kind of finished up, I wanted something different, and so got into road running at that point, and just went out for a run to see what it was like because I always hated it before, and it was a lot easier than I thought, which was really cool. So I went out and I started making some goals for myself. So I'd run a 10K race, then I'd get into a half marathon. And then one of my friends took me out for a trail run at the nature park, actually. And I remember thinking, whoa, this is a lot different. It's hard, but it's not as hard on the body as the road running was. So I really jumped head first and actually signed up for a 50K soon after that. And that was my first 50K was at Rockwood Park. And I went into that not knowing anything about it. This was 2017. I trained my ass off. I was at Rockwood every weekend, just running that same loop over and over again and trained hard. And then got to race day and, as everybody does, went out way too hard at the start. And that first loop, I was pretty quick around that first loop. And as I said, I didn't know what I was doing. So I thought full change would be the right thing to do at the time, at the halfway mark. So I changed everything. And when I was doing that, everybody passed me. So I was out by myself on that second lap and I didn't run one step. I hiked the entire 25 kilometers and ended up in last place. So that was my first experience of trail running, but
even though I was in last place, I still had a blast, and really got hooked on it. So from there, I did a lot of running, a lot of training. My max would have been 111K, I think is the most I've ever done. I've attempted a 100-miler and told myself I'll never do that again after throwing up for 5 hours straight. I was like, no, I'll never do that again. But I still loved being on trail and exploring and that sort of thing. So did a lot of that. And the funny thing is I when I was running all the time, I'd look at these race directors and I'd think, I am never going to put a race on. Like, I think that's crazy. I just want to run. Like, I just want to be at all the races. I don't want to put them on. And then something happened. I don't know what it was, but came out of nowhere. And now we're sitting at 5 races that we put on and hoping to have 6 here next year. So things have changed, I guess. so yeah. And in that process, I guess, came St. John trail running. So as I mentioned, 2017 was my first 50K, my first ultra. And then I raced for a few years. But then in 2020, when COVID hit, there was always a group in town called River and Trail Runners. And if you know the store out in Quispam called River and Trail, it's Sean Creary's store, and he had runners, and I ran with them those years that I was doing the ultras. I would run with them every week, every Wednesday night, and it was pretty cool club, but it was very select. Like, we may have had, the most we would have is maybe 15, 20 people out max every week. So it was just a few of us. The trail running hadn't really exploded by then, so did a lot of that, and then COVID hit, and Sean wasn't doing the runs anymore. Just, everybody was a little nervous on what to do. Like, do we go outside? Do we hang out with people? That sort of thing. So I had the idea that I would start up St. John trail running, and I would just do it on a separate day. And I would have us go out and not competing against Sean, just giving another option, right? And as soon as I had put it out there, Sean had contacted me right away and said, "Hey, like, I'm not comfortable doing this right now, so why don't you just take over the River and Trail Runners, the Facebook page at the time, and you take it on and do whatever you wish with it." So thought that was pretty cool. So we did, and at the time, the Facebook group had about 600 members in the group, and today we just got over 5,000. So wow. We've grown quite a bit in the last 4 or 5 years, and a lot of thanks is just to I guess the first year we had one of your previous guests, Julia Wright, had us on the CBC when she was working for the station, just talking about trail running and that sort of thing. And that actually, I was surprised at how many people came from that. We had people come into the group runs for probably a year after telling me that they heard that interview on CBC. So I thought that was pretty cool that she did that for us, and we were able to kind of get a boost in numbers, and then from there it was just consistency. Like, we were showing up every single week. We wanted to make sure that people knew that we were committed. So if we're committed, they should be committed, I guess, and also projecting that nobody's left behind. So that's kind of our big thing, is we always put out there that nobody's left behind. So we always have a caboose at the back of our group runs and make sure that everybody gets through, no problem. Nobody gets lost, and it's a super chill atmosphere. And people just started recognizing that, and then telling their friends and telling their friends, and so on and so forth. So that kind of that came from kind of my exploits. And really, when I started getting into the actual running with the group, that's kind of where I started thinking about trail racing, and was like, okay, well, we're building this community. I want to kind of give them a race. And the first one that we started was Bootstrap Boogie, which is actually at the nature park. And it was just kind of a fluke. I ran into one of the head guys at JDI up at Poli, actually doing some ski touring, and we were just transitioning at the bottom. And I said, I don't know how I knew who it was, but I just had heard his name, And I said, I heard you're the guy that I need to talk to about having a potential running race at the nature park. He said, yeah, I'd be that guy. So I just hit him up afterwards, and he put me in touch with the right person, and then kind of the rest is history. We've kind of snowballed from there. So, and I guess I should mention along the way, aside from the co-ed group that we do every Wednesdays, I had met another person, Sarah Lamus, at the same or right around the same time. She started coming out to our group, super nervous, super scared to come out, and she just kind of started getting into it. And I could kind of tell that she was as passionate as I was about this group, and it kind of got me thinking. I was like, well, I used to always go to these races and notice that there was no women participation. Like there was some, but very few. And I was thinking, like, how can we boost that? And I thought, after meeting her, I thought, well, maybe we should start a women's only group. And I pitched the idea to her, and she was all over it. Like, she had just started with us, but she had gotten to the point where she came terrified and is now like ready to run her own big races, right? So she was like, yes. I didn't even get it out of my mouth before she said yes. I'd be all over it. So we started that up as well soon after when our group started. And the first day that they had it, I think 45 or 50 people, women, showed up to that group, which we knew right away that okay, we got something here, right?
Yep.
So, and that group continues to go, and now you're actually seeing more pop up in Fredericton, Moncton. Now there's a women's only group in Moncton. There's one in Fredericton. They're starting to pop up all over the place, which is really cool to see. And then a few years later, just out of a fluke, we had somebody running with us, and they posted in the Facebook group, what about a beginner group? And I was thinking at the time, oh, that's just more stuff that we got to do, right? So I thought that's kind of tough, but yeah, let's give it a try. Luckily, I put it out to the community, and as awesome as they are, everybody jumped at helping. They were like, yeah, we can guide, we can help guide, like we'd love to do this. So we started that the first year. We had no sign up or anything. We just said, we're all meeting at this location, come if you can. No, it didn't cost anything. Everybody showed up, and there was 115 or something that showed up the first day.
Whoa.
So we were like, okay, this is something for sure. The problem was the first 2 years, we didn't charge and we didn't have a goal attached to it. So what happened is you'd have 115 at the start, progressively each week. It's an 8-week program. Progressively each week, you'd lose people. And by the end of it, we'd have 5 to 10. So we were like, okay, well, what can we do to make this more appealing? So a few years ago, we created a race called the East Coast Beast Coast, and it's just an 8K race. But what happens is when you sign up, and we are now charging for the intro group, and we're calling it the intro group now because I just don't like the word beginner. I think everybody's already started walking, so they can do it, right? So it is more of an intro to trail running group. So yeah, we few years, or I guess we did it no cost for 2 years. And then the third year, we put $50 attached to it. And that actually gave you entry into this race that we created. So you're actually signing up for a race before you even put your shoes on.
Oh, cool.
So it was really cool. It got people excited, and it gave us something to talk about when we came each week, saying, this is what the race is all about. We could talk about what the etiquette is on trail and that sort of thing. So it really got people excited. And the difference, what happened with that is we went from 5 to 10 finishing the course to we had 83 people do the actual race.
Wow.
So it just changed everything. So all of those things we were doing is just kind of building up into, the intro group moves people to the main groups. So the women's only and the co-ed group. And then also moves into our races. So it's building that community so everybody starts to get to know each other. So when you go to the races, it's almost like just a bunch of friends hanging out, which is really cool. And that's kind of what trail races are all about. They're not super competitive. You've got the first few people at the front that will go after it, but then you've got people just going after their own journey, right? And what they can do. For example, my first 50K, was 9.5 hours. I went back a few years later and did it in 6.5. So it's just, that's my personal goal. I wasn't winning. I didn't come close to winning, but it was just a personal goal for me to actually improve my time from before. So yeah, that's kind of a long-winded version of our story, but that's kind of where we are now and what we're doing.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, it's interesting how the intro group, how much it can change when you have that goal at the end of the journey, eh?
Big time.
That race.
Yeah, it got people really excited, which was really cool, and it makes the race really exciting. Like, because you've got people that are blasting that 8K. Because I do open it. It's not just for the intro group, so they sign up for it right at the beginning, and they can choose whether they want to do it or not. But it's also for anybody. So I'll open it up after the intro group is all signed up. I'll open it up to the public and anybody can come. So it's really cool for them to get to know some of the more elite people in town and kind of pick their brain. And then also, do their own thing in there. And it's also good for the elite people because they stick around and watch all that. And it's just so inspiring. Like everybody's just super inspired by that day. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. It makes me think about, I go back to music a lot since I grew up. Bass and stuff, and that used to be a recommendation, is like jamming with people who are above your skill set. For both those reasons, it would help you step up and see and react to someone way more experienced than you are, and at the same time, it gives the experienced people a chance to like help along or motivate
absolutely
the less experienced.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I did in my own personal training those years before St. John Trail Running, is I would always go out with my buddies who are way faster and way better, and it would just push me the whole time, and it's why I got to a certain point. So yeah, it definitely helps. You're right there. It helps in every kind of aspect, I think.
So was it specifically this race for the intro group that led to more races coming along? Like that was the first organized race?
No, so the Bootstrap Boogie was the first one, and that's the one at the nature park.
Yes, okay.
I'm trying to think. So East Coast, Beast Coast might have been the second one. I'm trying to remember.
Why did you choose the nature park for the first one? Any particular reason?
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I don't know if you've been over there, but so the course, we've got a 17K and a 9K. And the course is, the 17K is pretty much 100% coastal, the whole thing. So it was really a nice area. And I had run there, at that time, over 100 times. Like I had run there so much. It was kind of my go-to place. It's not super technical, absolutely beautiful. And it's just a really nice park. So that's kind of what got in my head. And once I got a year of that under my belt, I started kind of wanting to do more. And that's kind of how I've kind of grown this, is I start very small. Like it takes me a while to learn things and I want to do it right. So that first year had a lot of challenges, but we learned a lot from it. And then we just kind of grew off that every year. So yeah, I think it was that one. I'm trying to remember if ECBC, I think it probably was the second one. I think it was. And then Looney Loops, and then Rompin' Rockwood, which I help. So there's actually people that were already involved, and I asked if I could kind of come in with them. So I've been doing that for 2 years. And then we have one at Poli Peak Pursuit as well. And that just started, last year was our first year with that. And I worked with Colin on that one. So
okay, cool.
Yeah.
And that's coming up in October.
That's in October, yeah. It's really cool. It's a fun one. And eventually, I think Colin had said it on here, we are looking at trying to do a 100-mile race, the first New Brunswick 100-mile race. And Sussex is the place that I picked because I really think the town would really get behind it. And I have a vision of running through the town. So yes, you'll be on the trails and everything, but in a lot of these bigger races that you watch, like on TV, like the live streaming and stuff, they're like, I'm talking 200-mile races. They run through towns. Like they start one point and they actually go through trails, mountains and everything. And then they come into like a little town and they run through a town where everybody's eating. And, it's really cool atmosphere. And so when I was thinking of Sussex, I was like, that would be really cool to have them like run down Main Street. So the Poli Peak Pursuit, the reason I'm bringing this up is Poli Peak Pursuit for me, like Colin was really pushy on me on this one. He really wanted it to happen. And thankfully he did, because I wasn't ready for it last year just because the timelines, we were very short on timelines. but he said he was going to do it anyway. So I was like, okay, well, I might as well get in because I'm going to have to help anyway. So I got in, and the big reason behind that is I want to try to build the contacts in the Sussex area to try to like, there's going to be a lot of dealing with landowners and stuff like that when it comes to these trails. So to try to build that up, so that people know who I am when I get to that point. So, and then the other thing is the two, so we have a 5K and a 13K that happen at Poli. And if we do this 100-mile race, we'll just include, like, that'll kind of merge into this 100-mile race. So we'll still have the 5K and the 13K, but that'll happen when everybody's out doing their big loop, right?
Okay.
So we're just kind of in the planning stages of determining the route, determining who the landowners are, and then speaking with the city or the town and see what their thoughts are, and then going from there. But I used to work at Outdoor Elements myself, so I know John fairly well, and I know he's very well connected in Sussex. So I think it will be very well received. It's just, it's taking some time to get that going. To be honest, they scare the Jesus out of me. Like, I am scared to do a 100-mile race. There's just a lot of logistics around it.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm feeling a lot better now that we have these 5 races that we do every year. But it's still, it's terrifying. You got people way out in the middle of the woods, and you're responsible for their safety, and it's scary, and I just don't want to be the guy that something happens to somebody, right? So
well, that's an interesting angle to bring up, really, because I'm sure a lot of folks wouldn't think about that aspect of it as the manager or organizer of the race. Safety concerns and making sure everything's prepped and all the logistics and legalities are taken care of, and
feeding people. That's my worst. My worst trait was race directing. Good thing my partner is very good at it. So, but and the other, we have a race called Looney Loops, and that's kind of prepared me for it because we have a 6-hour, a 12-hour, and a 24-hour.
Yeah.
It's a little different in that it's at the Glen Carpenter Center, and it's only a 3K loop.
Okay.
So people come back. So you don't have people far away, and we're real close to the hospital and stuff like that. So for that reason, but just putting something together for 24 hours, like the food you need and the kind of the aid station, like that has prepared me in that sense. But when it comes to safety, that's a tricky one. It's, getting people willing to work for an event for 30 hours or 35 hours or whatever it's going to be. Right. So I think our plan with the Sussex one will be to maybe for the first year have an 80K loop and then just do it twice for the 100 miles.
Okay.
'Cause it's 160K is 100 miles. So that's kind of the plan, just because then logistically it's not as hard. You don't have people as far away from town and that sort of thing. So I think that'll be kind of the initial thing we'll do there.
Very cool. Yeah, you probably heard me mention to Colin too, or did we say it in the interview? Anyway, I was always like, I'm always telling him to like try to convince Christian Meyer to come back and be like I don't know what you would call him, but the celebrity,
the
runner,
the elite fields. Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that because when it comes to these 100-mile races, that's when you start bringing international people from out of town, obviously into the Sussex area or into St. John. It's these smaller races that we do, like we're getting people from Nova Scotia. You'll get the odd person from Maine.
Okay.
You'll get Ontario every now and then. And it's, we actually had a couple, this was really cool actually, a couple for Romp and Rockwood that we did in May. They reached out just before the event because they are living the van life, and they shipped their van over from Europe. I don't know where they were from, actually. I think it was Australia, actually. They shipped their van over to the States, and they had been traveling through. And they were just staying at Rockwood, and they saw a post or something, and that'd be fun. So they came and did our race. So it was really cool to have, like, that was the furthest we've ever had by far.
Yeah.
But you'll get a lot of people on the race list that it might say, like, Ontario, but they're like going to school here. Okay. And it's just their address, right? So... So yeah, we don't get too many international folks, but the 100-mile race will bring people, that are from out of town to the area. And I know Christian's from Sussex, so it'd be even more appealing to him if he's dealing with all kinds of injuries, I think now. But yeah, it'd be cool to to have people like that come out and just, I mean, it shines the light on Sussex, right?
For sure.
And Sussex is beautiful. Like some of the trails there are just gorgeous. And so I think it'd be kind of cool to get that, because a lot of people were pushing me to bring the Fundy circuit back, which is in Fundy National Park. It's a 50K circuit.
Okay.
And it used to be a race that John McNair put on, and it was an awesome race. Like, everybody loved it. And I did contact them to kind of get the ball rolling, but it's just logistically with communication is not easy there. So like trying to communicate with aid stations and stuff like that would be too far. And you're also dealing with a national park. So you're dealing with people that have specific rules, and it's just a lot tougher to put something like that on.
Okay.
I think it could be done, but my thought was always around Sussex. I just think the town would love it. Like, they have this, the balloon festival and all the fun events there that they really get behind. So for me, that was kind of why I thought that would be a great spot.
Yeah. And Main Street would be perfect for it with, in the summer when the Ale Works has the deck out or the patio and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, I could really see that being well received.
Yeah, the only concern is how much traffic goes through Main Street now. It's insane there. Like, if you just sit there for a while, it's crazy how much traffic. So my thought was you'd start people at a certain time. Like, I think our start finish would be at Poli, and you'd start at a certain time that would bring people through the town, like between midnight and 4 a.m. or something, 5 a.m. so that they didn't have as much traffic through there. But
interesting. Night. I didn't even think about it being at nighttime.
Yeah. A lot of these longer distances start. They start all over the place, but it like a race I just went to in Quebec started at 10 p.m. and it's 135K. So they're running all through the night, which I kind of like the concept of it, because you're running to the sun, you're not running out of the sun kind of deal. So
that sunrise is kind of motivating.
Yeah, exactly. And it does you see it on people's faces. Like, if they run overnight, like as soon as that sun starts coming up, it's like they're a whole new person. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Sure. That brought back feelings of walking home from the pulp mill. I was telling you before we recorded that I used to work at the pulp mill, the night shifts.
Yeah.
I'd usually walk to and from work. So walking home as the sun was coming up, it was like, it'd give you those feelings of like, all right, new day, motivated.
Yeah, definitely.
Even though you were just up all night.
I know.
Yeah. That's interesting. Okay, yeah, that'd be awesome. Well, I could get behind that. My parents, or my wife's parents, live right on Main Street in Sussex.
Okay, cool.
So I can relate. I know what you're talking about with the traffic. It's like the busiest little town in the province, probably.
Is. Yeah. I feel like they're going to have to do something at some point, because it's crazy how busy that is. Yeah.
You wonder where everyone's going, but it's good for the town.
Big time.
Maybe we could talk a little bit, just because when we were talking earlier about the safety concerns, like, are there any, maybe someone who's new to running, are there any signs that while you're running that someone could be aware of to be like, whoa, I'm maybe reaching my max or my threshold?
Good question. Wow. Yeah. Not really, because the funny thing is you'll see people in these 100-mile races that you think are dead. And like, I've seen people that honestly I thought there's like, they'll be laying on the ground passed out, but it's just because they're having a dirt nap, right?
Okay.
So and the funny thing is that person will then turn around like that and be running no problem. So it's hard. It's really hard to pinpoint that, because you can feel like death and come out of it. It's happened to me in a race. In the first 100K that I finished, I was at an aid station for an hour, just thought I was going to die. Like, I couldn't speak. I was shivering. I thought I was going to throw up. And within that hour, I popped up and I was running. They sent me out again, and I was 8 hours into the woods at night by myself and running. Like, I was fine. So that's a really good question, because I don't think I'd be qualified to answer it, for one, but also I've seen people go through hell and back and be able to pull out of it. So yeah.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So I guess, it's such a personal journey. I guess everyone's kind of hip to their own
big time,
their own body.
What we do is we try to put things in place that, so what I always tell people when they're out running our races is, if you see something, say something. So if you see somebody that's really struggling, let the next volunteer know, or let somebody on trail, even if somebody passes you that's faster, let them know. Just let somebody know. And also, there's like in our bigger race, which is the Romped Rockwood, because it's got a 50K, we put my phone number on the back of everybody's bib.
Oh, cool.
So we say, if there's an issue, please call me and we'll come out and try to deal with something. For the most part, like, I think you'd have more struggles on the road with people, just because you're exposed to sunlight. So you'd have a lot of like dehydration, you have a lot of heat stroke and that sort of thing.
Okay.
On trail, you're shaded. For the most part, you're shaded. And it's mostly like twisted ankles. Like I'm actually dealing with an ankle injury right now, but it's mostly just ankle rollovers. Sometimes you'll get dehydration, but it's not as, I found it's not as common in our races where you'll see something terrible happening. I say that somebody just passed away in a race in Colorado. But I mean, whatever circumstance, I think it was just a fluke that they were doing a race because they were very experienced. They had done many 100-milers, and they passed away like 10K into the race. So,
okay. Yeah.
So yeah, you get that, and that's believe me, it's my worst nightmare to hear that kind of stuff, right? So I think that would take me out of the game for a bit, but yeah, no, we just try to put things in place. We always have medical on site as well, and they're generally just there to help, like, bandage somebody up, and if there is more of an emergency, they'll actually deal with the ambulance, like get the ambulance there and all that stuff. So we've had to do that once. Somebody was about to pass out at the end of our race, and they dealt with it and took him away in the ambulance, and he was fine now. But yeah, we haven't had too much of it. Like I said, it's scratches, twisted ankles, that sort of thing.
Okay, well, that's great to hear, but it's good to know that you're prepared for if that situation.
Yeah, somewhat. I feel like we can always be more prepared, but it's we do the best we can and go from there. Everybody signs their little waiver right beforehand, so so we got to have that. But
part of it. Yep, that's another one of those hidden or hidden, like, organization, or if you're in charge of something, another one of those hidden tasks that kind of have to be done just for the the 0.1% chance that something horrible happens, which of course no one wants to have happen.
Yeah, it's like it's like ski touring. You pay for all the safety gear that you never want to use. Exactly. So you pay all kinds of money, for a probe, a shovel, a beacon, and then if you ever have to use it, it's not a good scenario, right?
Exactly.
But you want to have it. I mean, to be out there without a beacon and your buddy goes down in an avalanche and there's nothing you can do, it would be terrible, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we do try to kind of put some plans into place for that, for sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's great to hear then. Let's maybe think too, just on my own curiosity, like the nature park. I've only been to the nature park once, actually, which is kind of sad a little bit, but because it is beautiful. I went once with my buddy Mike.
Yeah.
And so running at the nature park, and then I think running the Poli. Well, there's elevation for the Poli race, obviously.
Right.
So I don't know, like, what's the difference there? Like, how does that translate from just running on a nature park trail, which I'm sure has some sort of elevation at certain points?
Right.
But Poli is like a mountain as far as we're concerned in New Brunswick. So.
Exactly. Yeah. And a lot of people get scared by that. They think, oh, Poli, it's a big ski hill. Like I'm nervous. And it's not as bad as you think, especially the 5K. The good thing is all those trails were built to be flowy, very flowy trails. So they're not technical at all. Some of them are a little more technical, but the 5K is not. And it's switchbacks all the way up. So
what's a switchback?
So switchback would be like when you're going up a mountain, you're not going straight up, you're going side to side to side to side.
Yeah.
So it brings you up more gently. So an example would be if you went from the bottom of Poli to the top of Poli straight up, it would be about 1.2 kilometers. Reason I know that is because I just did it. But 1.2 kilometers. And then if you take this switchback trail that starts the 5K, starts both races, I guess, it's 3 kilometers to get up. So you can imagine there's a lot of flat, like you kind of go up a bit and then you go flat for a little bit and then you go up a little more. So it actually doesn't feel like you're climbing too much.
Okay.
And the one misconception people have with trail running is that you're always running, which you definitely are not. So when it comes to a race like that where there's elevation, you just, what we call power hike, you just hike up it.
Okay.
Now, the elites of the elite can run all that, no problem. Well, I mean, even like Colin can run that, no problem. Like there's there's it's much simpler on a switchback trail than it is straight up.
Okay.
But yeah, if you're struggling with it, you just hike it. So a lot of people get nervous by that. Like Colin's trying to convince a lot of people from Sussex, like a lot of his runner friends or who are road runner friends, and they're nervous about that elevation. And he just keeps saying, like, if you can't run it, just hike it. Like, but the coming from the road scene, you have it kind of implanted in your brain that you should not be walking any step. You should be running everything. So I think people just get that kind of in their head that, you know, I need to bust this out as hard as I can. But I mean, it's, yeah, I mean, that's really the only difference between the two. The nature park would be definitely less vertical, but it's more like Pole's more straightforward. So you know what you're getting into, you know, you're going up and you know, you're going down. At the nature park, it's more up, down, up, down, up, down. So you end up getting, you don't get the same amount of vert, but you end up getting some. And it's a little more technical at the nature park, but not too bad. Like if somebody's transitioning from road to trail, that would be one of the places I would send them to for sure. But
what makes it technical? Like you mentioned too, that pole is not that technical. So what does that mean in this concept?
Yeah. So it's funny that I never remember that people don't understand what that means, but it just means, roots and rock. So the more roots and rocks you have, the more technical it is. So Pole was built for biking, primarily. So there's a lot less of that because it's a lot harder to bike, especially uphill. They don't have any of that. Now, some of the 13K is on more like Black Diamond, they say, trails. That would be a little harder, like, and for more advanced kind of bikers. And they would be a little more technical. You'd see like big rock drops where, you'd drop off this big rock or stuff like that. So it's actually the first race that I've had to put a rope out for people to get up a certain section of the race, which is pretty funny.
Okay.
Just to pull them up because it's so steep.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. So roots. Okay. So you got to be more aware of your foot placement if it's more technical.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which means you can't just be mindlessly running. You're using more energy to pay attention with your brain.
Exactly. Yeah. And it slows you down, which is also good. And that makes it a little easier on the body. But yeah, it's easier on the body, but harder on the mind for sure, because you've got to pay attention the whole time. So if you do a big run that is very technical, you'll find that you're more exhausted after, just because you've had to think about what you're doing the whole time. And I even find that with leading the crew, we're not going super fast or anything, but I find when we transition from summer to winter, when it starts getting dark in the woods, and I have to now think a little more on where we are, because I know these trails very well, so I could almost do it with my eyes closed. But from summer, I haven't really had to pay attention much. And then we go to winter when it's dark and I got to actually think more. And I'll find that I'm actually more tired when I get home from doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I hear the word technical, I think of like music like Dream Theater. So it's like compared to playing like Ramones punk rock to playing or learning Dream Theater songs. Mentally, it's like draining.
Yeah, definitely.
So running at night, are runners expected to have their own headlamps and stuff, or do you have to light up the trails? How does that all unfold? Yeah,
no. So runners, definitely are expected to have their own headlamp. Some are better than others. I actually just transitioned mine over a couple of years ago because I found it was so hard to see.
Okay.
But now, like, the headlamps are so good these days that you can it's almost like you have a headlamp or a headlight on your head.
Yeah.
And there's multiple variations of it. You can get it for your head. You can get it for your waist. Well,
cool.
They'll kind of project out more, and onto the ground more. But yeah, we say headlamps are mandatory. You'll get the odd person show up without one, and what we'll do with them for the first time is like we'll educate them that you do need a headlamp going forward, but we'll try to put them in kind of the middle, and they can use other people's headlamps to kind of be able to get by. But yeah, it's super important. Like you got to see where you're going, right? Looney Loops is the race that we do that's 24 hours, and we do put like twinkling lights out on the trail, but it's more for fun. It's not to light up the trail. You still have to have a headlamp. It's just more to bring a better atmosphere to the party, I guess, or to the trail party.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thinking more about Pole, like, in my brain, I would have, and I actually, I would have been there last October when the first race was happening, but I wasn't aware of it. I was just there for the harvest weekend.
Yeah.
And my buddy Cole took me out. I'd never been on, even though I grew up in Sussex, I didn't grow up skiing or anything. So I'd never been on the chairlift.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So we went up on the chairlift. My buddy Cole took me there, and it was like, it scared the shit out of me, to be honest. Like,
really?
Yeah. Panic attack city. I was like, oh my God, I can't. And then Cole's like, don't worry, the chances of this stalling. It's like, if this stalls, we're in big trouble, man. Like,
it happens all the time.
It cannot stall. I cannot be stuck up here. You don't understand. Like, there's going to be a big problem. But it was actually walking down. I found, and I had a knee issue at the time. I actually found walking down, is like usually it like felt harder than like walking up any portion of it.
100%.
So I was kind of wondering, like how much the people probably imagine running up is difficult, but how much of it is running down, and how do you like manage is it going to be switchback as well, running down?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, somewhat. So the 5K is switchback up, switchback down. It's pretty simple, in the grand scheme of things of climbing a hill. But you're right. Like coming downhill is harder on the quads, harder on the knees. You're putting all your force into like your lower half, right? So it's definitely going to be harder on the body, and it's where people struggle a lot because it's scarier, right? You're going faster. You've got roots and rocks underneath. Like it's a little harder for people. It's where I shine. Like I love downhill running, and I think that's because of the skiing background. I've always skied the trees, so I can always pick my line and I know where to go. So I think, most of the time it's because people are just nervous about going downhill. The 13K is a little different in that there are some steeper sections, so people have to navigate that for sure. And what we do, which is kind of sadistic, is at the end of the 13K, they run down the driveway to the bottom where the quad chair is. So that chair wouldn't have been running the day you were there.
Okay.
It's the other chair that's a quad is just a 4-person chair. So it takes you down to the bottom of that, and you literally go from the bottom straight up the mountain to the top. So you're passing the lodge all the way up to what's called the chute, and then you come down. So it's pretty cool to see people because they're suffering so bad at that point. Like this is at the end of a 13K, like pretty tough run. And just to watch people do that is so awesome. But yeah, you nailed it. Like knees are definitely taking a beating when you're going downhill. A lot of people actually also use, if it's a long race, they'll use poles. And last year we did have people that had poles. And that just takes kind of the pressure off your lower half, off your knees and that sort of thing.
Okay.
When you're going downhill, I find them more useful for downhill than they are for uphill. But people use them for both. You'll see that a lot. Yeah.
Huh.
There's a lot of these long races, like mostly in the States and stuff like that. Well, there's some cool ones in Canada. You're in the mountains. Like it's not, it's hard for us to train here because you're in like big mountains, like Colorado, your base level is 10,000 feet and you're going up to 14,000 feet. Like it's you're in some big stuff, right? And a lot of those are very technical, like steep downhills or uphills where it's almost, a small grade rock climbing, right? So yeah, you get a lot of that in the bigger races, but here you don't get that as much. The funny thing is you get that out there, but they tend to have smoother and runnable trails than we do here. East Coast is almost like we haven't figured out what switchbacks are. So you do see them like on ski hills and stuff because they need them for bikes, but you go do something like the Fundy footpath and you're basically going straight up the mountain. Like there's no easy way up. It's just up and down that way, right? So yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's just I can kind of remember just getting out of high school and seeing Christian Meyer and my buddy Kirk Emery both in a bike race at Poley Mountain. And like it felt like at the time like that. And then I think it disappeared for a while. Like Poley Mountain in the summer just basically shut her down completely. There wasn't that kind of motivation, or maybe there was no one to take charge of making it into bike paths and that sort of thing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it used to have a scene, and I don't even think it was that like the trails weren't that great back then, but they were doable. And then it's just been the last few years where they got the right people in place that thought, okay, our winters are kind of shitty around here. Like I think it was last year, they weren't open till after Christmas break, and they closed before March break. So two of their busiest times ever, they didn't even get to capitalize on. It was just such a terrible year for snow. This year was a lot better for them, or I guess this season was a lot better for them. But because of that, I think they figured out that we need to do something in the summer, and they've really picked it up. It's actually like, it's becoming like a really cool destination for riders now.
Awesome.
And the trails are like meticulously built. So for safety, it's a lot better. And they're all named now. They've got like the trail names and everything for them. And yeah, I think they've done a really good job. And the scene there is a lot, like they've welcomed us, the trail runners, like they want us up there as much as possible. They're charging lift tickets now for biking and stuff that they didn't do before. Actually, when you would have seen him before, they wouldn't have even used the lift. They would have had a pickup truck, and they all would have thrown their bikes in the back of the pickup truck, and they drove up the carousel to get to the top.
No way.
Yeah,
wow.
so that's how they did it back then, but now they're using the chair, which is really cool.
Cool.
And they also have offered like van life spaces. So
no way.
So you can actually go up to Poli now, and in their back parking lot, they've got like a big fire pit there actually, and two old like chairlift chairs that are sitting there, and a couple porta potties, and they let you park there for free now.
No way.
Which is really cool. So my partner and I just got a van, so we've gone up a couple times and just hung out there, and
cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It was pretty awesome last October at they call it the Harvest Festival.
Yeah.
Because they had a bunch of merchants set up. I think Zach Ingalls was playing music. If you know him, he's
he's really good. Yeah,
he's awesome.
I wanted to get him at Looney Loops. Actually, I haven't reached out yet, but I want to see what his prices are, because we always bring in a couple bands because it is 24 hours.
Yeah.
So this year we actually got. So last year we got Beaton. Mike, is it Mike Beaton?
I'm not familiar with that.
Baker Beaton band is part of them, but he came solo. He plays a lot of the bars, like Cask and Kettle. He plays a lot at. But this year we've actually got a steel drum band, like a 20-piece steel drum band that's going to play, which I'm super pumped about. It's just a bunch of older ladies that just are really good at it. And they play a lot of shows around, but there's still money in the budget. And I'm thinking, like, I really like Zach's style, and I love the banjo. I think it would be really cool. So I was going to reach out to him, but also if not, I would love to have Beaton back. But he was great too. We had a DJ last year too, which Felix, I forget his name, but yeah, it's a really cool scene at this. So yeah, it's funny that you say his name, because he was playing there last year.
He was playing there.
Did you go on the Saturday or the Sunday?
I honestly can't remember.
Was it a nice day, or was it raining?
The race was, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so me and my buddy Cole went to the ale house or ale works.
Yeah.
And then Cole was in town visiting because he's in Alberta now, but he grew up in Sussex.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh yeah, this is going on." And then a guy at the other end of the ale house on the having a drink said, "I was in the race, so they gave me this free pass if one of you guys want it."
Oh.
So I don't know if the race happened on a certain day, if that helps narrow it down.
Yeah. So the race was on Saturday, and it was raining that day, which was too bad because
it was chilly. It was pretty cold.
Yeah, it probably was the Saturday, but it was early. We started early. I think this year we're going to start a little later, because I'd love to have more people from the Harvest Fest to kind of see what's going on.
Yeah.
Especially because one of the sections of the 13K actually runs under the chairlift you guys would have been on. So it'd be cool, like when you're riding the chair, to see some runners going by.
Okay.
So yeah, it could have been that day. It rained pretty bad. The Sunday was really nice. It was a nice day, and there was a lot of people there. I went up on Sunday just to pick things up, and it was a lot different than what we experienced. But we're getting pretty used to the rain. The first two races we've done this year, it's rained both times, like poured rain both times. So we're getting a little better at it, but we'd rather not.
It's just one of those gambles. Roll the dice.
Yeah, and it just the vibes. Like, I find it's funny because you work 10 times as hard, but for a less of an experience. Yeah. So I just, it's funny, but I say that, but our first Looney Loops is still talked about to this day, because it was sideways rain. It was 2 years ago, and it was the same day as Moonlight Bazaar, and they actually canceled their event because it was just so terrible. And we still put ours on, and I remember being there at, it was like 5 in the morning or something, and I'm like tying the sponsor banner to our archway, and I'm just thinking to myself, how do I get out of this? Like how, because it's just like beating me with rain. I got this big like rain suit on, and it's funny. Like we had, I think 125 sign up that year, and 120 showed up or something.
Wow!
Like we almost had everybody show up, and like you wouldn't believe the mess. It was just insane, and people had a blast, and like that's the trail runner mindset, right? They're just like, whatever. Like all their goals went out the window, and they just went after it and saw what they could do.
Yeah.
And we had a guy do, Tim Barry. He's in the Sussex area, actually. He did, I think it was like 130K on like torrential downpour, muddy conditions over the 24 hours, which is just insane. But last year was nice, and everybody was smashing their PRs just because it was such a nice day. And we actually had a guy do 100 miles last year, which was pretty cool.
Okay.
Pretty cool to see. It was like, there was not a dry eye at the finish line at the end of that. It was just crazy. Everybody was just so inspired by not just him, but there was people getting their first 100K. Like there was just so much going on. It was awesome.
Okay.
It was really cool to see. Yeah.
Cool. And PR is personal record?
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Yeah.
Wow. That's cool. Yeah, the rain. That's a whole other thing I wouldn't have thought about. It's kind of like I talked to Ray Gracewood about music festivals, but Area 506.
Yeah.
And, that's I know they set up tents and stuff, but those kind of things roll the dice with weather too. You just kind of cross your fingers and hope that the weather cooperates. And even if it doesn't cooperate, the show must go on. So you just kind of make it work.
Yeah. I would never want to push people out when people have been training so hard for something. I'd never want to change the date.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just kind of plug away, and yeah, you're right. Tents are key. So the first year with that, this just shows you the community. Like I put a call out for tents, and within 10 minutes, I had like 10 people say they had tents that they could give us. So It was really cool in that sense. But I think going forward, like I do want to talk to the company that's in Sussex to try to, because they come and they set it all up for you, and then they leave, and then they come back and take it all down, right? But tents make a huge difference for sure. It's more, runners don't mind. Like I personally don't mind running in rain at all. Like I think it's great. Like especially if it's hot, it's nice and cool. It's kind of worse for like chafing and stuff like that. But so the runners don't tend to mind. It's the people organizing, because you've got timing equipment that you got to make sure stays dry. You've got audio equipment that's got to stay dry. Like all this stuff that you just have to try to keep dry. It just makes it a little more stressful. And then just like being able to hang out at the end and enjoy yourself. Like you finish the run, you want to sit down, have a beer, like just chill, go for a swim. Like at Looney Loops, we have a lake right there, so we can go for a swim, go for a paddleboard, kayak. Like just so much fun can be had when it's nice. So that's the only thing there. But honestly, we're going to do it regardless. So it is what it is if it happens.
Okay.
And Ray looks like he's going to get lucky this weekend.
And last weekend too. For the Boxcar Festival.
That's right. Yeah, we've gotten lucky because the start of the year, it was every weekend we were dealing with rain. So So yeah, no, that's good for them.
Yeah, that's wicked.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned chafage. I guess so. Maybe a new runner, is that something they might overlook? Is like being dressed properly so that they're as comfortable as possible?
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people overlook chafing, and if you've never done it, you don't know where it's going to happen.
Yes. Okay.
And also, you could be 4 or 5 years into this and not have chafing somewhere specific, and you just get it, right? So yeah, it's keeping yourself dry is the main thing. A lot of times most people get it between their thighs or that area. Nipples is a big spot. So people will put like tape or something on there. Wearing the right shirt that's not cotton, so something like this, where it's a little more a little more forgiving. Cotton would just rub your nipples dry. Basically.
Makes me think of The Office.
You see a lot of people coming in with chafed nipples, and it's just two bloody marks on their head. And it's not as bad. It hurts when you're running, but then when you get in the shower, it's very painful. But yeah, it does. So the right gear, the right underwear, the right socks for blisters.
Yeah, I was going to say blisters. Yeah.
Yeah. So just keeping feet clean is clean and dry is one of the main kind of things. But
so would you stop and change socks if you had
some people do?
Okay.
I'm pretty lucky. Like now I say this, I haven't done anything big in a couple of years, but I was pretty lucky where I didn't get too much for issues with my feet. I don't know if it's just the socks I wear or whatever, but people do a lot of things. Like they've got those socks where you can put your feet, it's kind of like wearing a glove on your foot.
Yeah.
Like Injinji or whatever they're called. But so yeah, you can do that kind of stuff to keep your kind of toes separated from each other so they're not rubbing. But people get it on the bottom of their foot. They get it everywhere. Toenails, like I don't know how many toenails I've lost. Like they just disappear after so long. But that was the first few years, and I find I never kind of went through that the last few years that I was doing it.
Okay.
But I've been kind of sidelined with injuries for the last couple of years, so I haven't really done much. But today I just signed up for my first 50 in a couple of years, so I'll be getting back into it. But yeah, the older you get, the more your body just falls apart, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
Yeah, for sure.
So this conversation is like kind of tempting me to try it, even though like I got flat feet and my knees aren't great. So, but the poles, you mentioned poles earlier, and I was like, oh yeah, I never thought about the poles.
Well, I got flat feet too.
Yeah,
so, and I do it.
Okay.
So, yeah, there you go.
Maybe Colin will hear this and then
now, are yours
send me a text message and
actually flat? Like, see, mine still have the curve, but they told me that I have flat feet. So
there's a little bit of archway, but I do wear like what are those called? Not prosthetics. But, inserts or whatever.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So a common thing that happens with people is plantar fasciitis. I don't know if you've ever had that before, but it's very painful on the bottom of your foot. It feels like somebody's just pulling the tendon underneath. So that happens a lot, and I that did start happening to me. It kind of went away, and I don't know if that's from the flat foot. I could see that it probably would be, but just kind of an overuse thing. But yeah, you're right. It's I mean, it just takes getting out there and trying it. We'd love to have you.
The orthotics are worth it. And they help quite a bit. So
yeah.
Maybe I'll consider it. Can we think maybe just briefly? I know we've been chatting for about an hour, but about ethics of trail running. So I say this because I used to pedal bike around town a lot,
right?
And I used to try to follow the motor vehicle rules as much as possible, because you tend to see pedal bikers like weaving in and out and going through stoplights, and it just makes it kind of like the ethics of it for the other motor vehicles, it just annoys people.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
If you're learning to run, and I don't know, you could use a nature park as an example, there'll be people out there just trying to enjoy the day.
Right.
So how does that all play out? How do the ethics, or how does that, I don't know, how do you approach that as a newbie or just in general?
Yeah. So what I typically tell the intro group is that, because none of these races, we don't close the trails for the races. Like they're open, so there'll be hikers out there.
Gotcha. Okay.
So a lot of the time I'll just tell them, just warn them ahead of time. Hikers are really good, and most of them are used to runners coming by or somebody coming by, even faster hikers, right? So what I do is I'll just say on your left or on your right, and I'll pass them with what I had said, and they actually will move over. Generally, when you call out, because 9 times out of 10 you're coming up behind somebody, and when you call out, the first thing that happens is they jump out of their boots because you scared the shit out of them, because they don't expect somebody coming up on you.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times too, they'll have earbuds in, so they're not hearing you at all. So you're basically yelling on trail like, I'm coming.
Yeah.
Earbuds. So when you do scare them, that immediately just pushes them to the side, and then you're apologetic the whole time, like, I'm so sorry. Like, but yeah, that's really it when it comes to that. The only other thing would be trail conditions. So areas that are more sensitive to kind of like erosion or damage to the trails. So an example would be like Shady Grove, where the trails were built mainly for biking.
Okay.
So when there's a lot of rain, or at the end of the winter when it's like you got the ice / mud and stuff going on, they tell people to stay off it. So because you're just doing damage to the trails. So we do put that out when it comes to those times of year. In the summer, it's not as bad. The main reason with trail running is because we generally run straight through the puddle. A lot of people, like hikers or even some bikers, they'll go around, and what that does is it makes the trail wider and wider and wider, and you don't want that, right? On trails, it's just going to ruin the trail. So that's really the only thing when it comes to that. There's not much etiquette wise, and I mean, telling people that you're going to pass is the same thing as if you're in a race and you're racing somebody and you're coming up on them. If you're the person in front, you might say, do you want to go by? If you feel like you can't stay ahead of them, or if you're the person in the back, you'll just say, hey, I'm coming on the right or coming on the left. That's generally it. You're not dealing with cars out there. So the rules aren't super strict, I guess, on trail.
Okay.
Yeah.
But some of the trails would be like one person wide. Is that ever an issue?
Yeah, single track trail is what we call them. Okay. Yeah, most of them are single track. But there's the odd spot that it might be more open, you can pass and that sort of thing. So yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Good question though. A lot of people don't ask that. That's good thought.
Well, it made me go back to this moment I had in Ottawa with my family because I was up there visiting and we were hiking or walking along the Rideau Canal.
Yeah.
And I was with my parents and my young niece and nephew, and like there was a bike, someone ringing their bell on their bike or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And we were just like hanging out in Ottawa. I'm not from there. We're just chilling, like people everywhere anyway. And we're just like, and then apparently they were trying to tell us to get out of their way.
Yeah.
And we just didn't clue into it. And so when we finally got close enough to us, and we obviously got out of the way, and then they like yelled some snarky stuff at us. Yeah. And I was like, what a bunch of jerks, man. Like we're just here. We didn't know. We're just like, anyway, that just made me think about that.
Yeah. Some people just think their life revolves around them. Right. So
yeah. Or they're just super serious. They don't want to slow down because maybe they're trying to break a PR.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably not the best spot to do that, but go for it, buddy. Yeah. Okay. That's funny.
But yeah, that's good. And so actually you mentioned about going around puddles. That's another thing I would never have thought about, is that by doing that, you're changing the trail.
Yeah.
So you're just affecting, I guess, the layout of it or something.
Yeah, and the dirt and stuff. Just you're compromising the actual single track trail. Yeah,
okay.
For sure.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I'm not like a trail builder. You could easily get in a trail builder in here that would tell you all about it. But that's basically what we've been told, is that, if you're going to do anything, if you see a puddle, just run straight through it. That's the least amount of damage you're going to do to a trail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, I don't know. That's pretty good chat. I feel pretty satisfied with what I've learned. Is there anything we missed that we should? I know we got I got the list here of upcoming races.
Yeah, I guess what I didn't mention is we actually just launched a race series. Actually, there's two things I didn't mention. We just launched a race series this year, so all of our races are now part of a series.
Okay.
So what we're doing with that is you gain points as you do our races. And the more races you do, the better you're going to do. There's bonus points based on if you do 4 of the 5 or 5 of the 5.
Okay.
But also what's going to happen at the end of the year, we always do a volunteer appreciation party. So anybody who volunteered for our races, we invite them to a party. We throw the party, like it comes out of all the funds we've gathered through the year. We throw them a big party. We give them all a swag bag with some cool swag in it from our races generally. And then this year I think we're going to combine that with a end of year party for the race series. So we'll have awards for the people that, like there's multiple categories. There's like a young guns category. There's a 21 to 54 category, then 54 and above.
Okay.
Or 55 and above. And so we'll have prizes for them at the end, and we'll throw a big party for all of them too, which will be pretty cool. It's gotten people really excited, like mainly even the younger folks, like the younger kids are really like getting involved, which is awesome to see. But the second thing that I hadn't mentioned, we're just launching on Friday on our website. We're actually launching a store. So it's going to be like a St. John trail running store, and we're going to have all kind of gear like my shirt here, and hats and that sort of thing. And everything that we do when it comes to our races and our gear store, we give a portion to some sort of charity in town. So we've donated to Romero House, a lot of food banks. We'll donate to trail building efforts. So there's some volunteer organizations that are set up, and we'll donate a portion to them. So the store is going to kind of mimic that, where anytime somebody purchases something on the store, we give $5 back to whatever organization we choose.
Okay.
And what we're also going to do, so what we used to do with the store is we'd launch it for like 3 weeks, and then we'd get all the orders in, and then we'd give people their clothing. But I've just hooked up with somebody actually in our community, Cody Cooper, who is one of the elite runners that runs with us. He just purchased a business doing not screen printing, but like vinyl printing. And so he's allowed us, because he doesn't have any minimums or anything. So we're going to have the store open 24/7 now.
Cool.
So it's going to be full time. And what we'll do is we'll do like monthly to 2-month drops of a specific design. And that design will be focused on, say, the Lorneville area. And it'll have all the Lorneville trails on the design, like the trail names and stuff. And we'll drop that, and then all those funds will go to the committee that deals with maintaining those trails and stuff there.
Cool.
So yeah, it's kind of exciting that we're going to be able to do a lot of cool stuff with that, because before it was just like, it wasn't on our site, but I've just recently built that out on our site so we can actually offer that, and we can do these cool little drops to raise more money for other organizations and stuff. So yeah, those kind of the other two things that I didn't really touch on, but yeah.
That's wicked. So will there be like designs built around each of the 5 races? Is that kind of one of the...
We might do that. Yeah. So we always offer swag at our races. We've gotten away from offering clothing for the simple fact that it's really tough ahead of the event to get all the clothing to, like, logistically to... you need to make sure it's gender specific and then size specific. So when you're putting the swag bags together, which, I mean, for Bootstrap, that's 400 swag bags, and it's just me and my partner putting them together. When you're putting them all together, you have to be like so good at making sure that you are getting the right size and the right color and everything in the right bags. So we kind of pulled away from that so that we could do things more like, beer mugs. We've got Gooder sunglasses. We've got all kinds of cool other things that we can just kind of put in the bag. But you did kind of nail it there, that we might want to get back into it, because I think it would be cool to have a cool design for a race, and then use those for the race shirts and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's actually it's one of the girls, Amy, in our community, who just started up with us, I think last year. She's a designer and she does fantastic work. So she's been working with Cody on, how to design things properly so that it works for him. And then I've got the site all set up and ready to go. So as soon as we're ready to do that stuff, we can do it. So I think, I think you're right. I think we will probably do that going forward.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
All of our races. Yeah,
makes me think of how there's always a patch associated with like a rocket launch, space launch. They just like give a specific little design patch.
So, that's cool. I never knew that. Yeah. We're actually thinking we're going to put patches on our site too, just so people can purchase a patch with our logo on it. And stuff.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, it's
so
fun.
that's stjohntrailrunning.com.
That is, yes. Okay. And we're also on Facebook. Facebook's where we put all the events for our weekly runs, and all of our weekly runs are free. Aside from the intro group, and that happens it starts every April / beginning of May.
Yep.
And runs for 8 weeks. So that's the only one that we do charge for.
Okay.
But all our like weekly group runs, and we go all year, are all free. So the women's only and the co-ed.
Does that meet at a different place every time? Or
it does. Okay. So for the women's only group, that's on Monday nights. She puts the event out on Facebook on Saturday.
Okay.
And then I'll put mine out on Monday for Wednesday. And then we do, on the day of, we post it to both Instagram and Facebook, just to give that other touch point. And we're very consistent with that. So if people do want to find us, that's the best way. Is Facebook is the best way to get the event stuff.
Okay.
And then our website is just more generic on, what we're all about. It's got all our races. It's got the point series on there. It's got the standings for the point series, and And then the store is coming next Thursday. So,
very cool. Next Thursday. Okay, yeah. So that's stjohntrailrunning.com. We might as well plug the 2 events coming up. Holy Peak Pursuit, October 11th.
Yep.
Bootstrap Boogie on November 1st.
Yep. And Looney Loops is actually September 13th.
September 13th. Yeah, we're not even September yet.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
okay, Looney Loops, September 13th.
And Looney Loops is sold out, but there's still transfers available. So we've got a wait list going for that. So
wait list. Okay. So anyone who's curious can still cross their fingers and stuff.
Yeah, just go on the website and you can add your name to the wait list there.
Very cool. Yep. And also, I know on your website too, you've had some other podcast appearances at is it Chasing Trails podcast?
Yep, done Chasing Trails a few times. We're actually the title sponsor for them as well. So yeah, I've done them. I've done a few other ones before as well, but I think most of them are on there. I don't know if all of them are, but most of them are listed on our site there.
Very cool. All right, so yeah, all you listeners, go to stjohntrailrunning.com and you can find all the info as well as the social media links there as well. All right, thanks a lot, Mark. That was a fantastic chat. I'm going to be a running expert here shortly, and I've never run a step in my life. So.
I love it. I'm going to hold you to it now. You're going to be coming out.
I have to tell Colin to start poking me every day.
Oh yeah, come on out. He's a good poker. He'll do it.
Yeah, he's pretty motivated. Eh?
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, yeah, maybe I'll do that. I don't know. Maybe I'll work. Some of it would be the. And this is probably familiar for a lot of people, the fear of being embarrassed.
Yeah.
I don't like being embarrassed. It's always been a problem. So no one likes to be embarrassed.
No.
But, yeah.
Fear of being last is very, very, very common.
Okay.
Everybody hates being last because they think they're holding everybody up. Uh-huh. But in all reality, nobody cares at all. It's a social run. We're just out there having fun. Mm-hmm. It's my partner that does the caboose most of the time.
Okay.
And she's just a blast to be with. So people feel comfortable as soon as they know who they're with, for sure.
So I could ride shotgun on the caboose. I could just hang out there.
Exactly.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, that sounds all right. Maybe you'll see me out there.
Awesome. Thanks, Jay.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, man.
Great.
Yeah, it was great fun.
Yeah.
See ya.